Yes, really. You're probably wondering why I, as a trans person, would subject myself to Adam, a film notorious for its terrible representation and treatment of trans people. I don't know. But I did. So I decided to write a video about it. And of course I regret every second of it, and I highly suggest that you don't do what I did. Avoid this movie at all costs. If you're already aware of this movie, I don't have to explain to you why it's awful in every way. But if you aren't, allow me to tell you. Adam is the story of a heterosexual cisgender male who convinces a lesbian that he's a transgender man so that she will have sex with him. Yes, this is a real movie that exists, and it's supposed to be seen as quote-unquote trans positivity, even though the people who made this movie knew the whole time that, of course, it was going to be hated by trans people. So, to solve this issue, they straight up lied to the actors, saying that it was for a different project titled Camp Trans. They even managed to rope in MJ Rodriguez, an actress I legitimately like. If you know her at all, it's probably from her role as Blanca Evangelista in the FX show Pose, which I actually like. I love Pose, and it's legitimately good representation, unlike this movie, whose main character is a cisgender, heterosexual, able-bodied male who pretends to be a marginalized identity in a pathetic attempt to get laid. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that it works. He starts dating this girl named Jillian, who is older than him, and the movie knows it. He even has to lie about his age. Literally, this whole movie could have been avoided if at the beginning, when Jillian says, "I've never dated a trans guy before," Adam just said, "Oh, I'm not trans." But no, they needed to make this terrible movie. You know, if any of you watch Mac Does It, there's a video where he talks about the movie LaQuisha, about a white man who pretends to be an African-American woman to land a job at a radio show. This movie reminds me a lot of LaQuisha, in that both of these movies are about white men who are about as privileged as it gets, pretending to be a member of a marginalized group for their own personal gain. And any of you who watched Mac's video or were unlucky enough to witness the movie for yourself will know that that movie is also pretty awful towards trans people. But we're just scratching the surface. Of course, I already mentioned that they straight up lied to most of the actors in this movie, and of course that's a big problem. But that's not all. Oh no. Another thing that pisses me off about this movie is the way they treat trans women like women, but not trans men like men. Obviously, there will be occasionally a character will say, "But trans men are real men, silly." And then you see trans men visiting lesbian clubs and dating lesbians. Even Jillian, towards the end of the movie, says she convinced herself that Adam was trans because she was worried that dating a cis man would make her less lesbian, but somehow dating a trans man wouldn't. Occasionally, characters in the movie will throw around a specific slur starting with a T, ending with a Y, that's directed towards trans people. You probably know which one I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say it out loud. And I shouldn't have to explain why I have a problem with that. Most of the movie, instead of cis, characters will use the word bio to describe cis people. Don't like that. The few times the movie tries to be self-aware about anything, it's very lazy. Just like a weak, "See, we're not transphobic." Did I mention that Adam lies to Jillian about his age? I did mention that. Jillian is in college. Adam is in high school. He lies and tells her that he's 20. That's not even the first time this happens. Early on, he goes to a lesbian club with his sister and some of her friends, and he meets a drunk 30-year-old, and they bang in the bathroom. Again, he's in high school, she's 30. She's supposed to be drunk, but that does not excuse anything. Look, I cannot stress enough that you should not, under any circumstances, watch this movie. It's disgusting on a multitude of levels. Don't give them the traffic, not even as a joke or for research or out of masochism or whatever excuse you want to use. It's not worth it. It's just a run-of-the-mill bad movie, and the best thing you should do is ignore it. Watching this movie was my mistake, and I made this video so that you'll know not to make the same mistake as I did. If you want good LGBTQ+, specifically trans representation, I strongly recommend watching Pose. Unlike this crime against humanity, Pose is actually well made, and the actors are legitimately talented and know what they're involved in, and it makes you feel things other than pure unbridled rage, which is what I felt watching Adam. Also, Billy Porter. I mean, it's hard. You can't say no to Billy Porter. I think you get what I'm trying to say, so I'll stop talking. But I'm Eon. Don't watch this stupid movie, and stay smooth, operators.